Humanity has tried to kill Godzilla 5 separate times. They've nuked him, gassed him, out-engineered him, and built a 400-foot robot with the brain of a dead alien for the sole purpose of putting him in the ground. And here's the part nobody on this channel wants to say out loud. One of those weapons actually worked. Godzilla died. His heart stopped, his dorsal plates went dark, and for about 90 seconds, the king of the monsters was a corpse on the ocean floor. The only reason you are not living under something far worse right now is dumb, terrifying luck. This is every anti-Godzilla weapon ever built in the Monsterverse. Who made it, what it did to him, and the one secret Monarch is still burying. Let me set the ground rules, because most of the internet gets this completely backwards. Since 1954, there have been exactly two kinds of people in the Monsterverse. The ones who wanted to study Godzilla, and the ones who wanted him dead. Monarch was the first group. The United States military was the second. And for 70 years, those two factions have been locked in a quiet war over the same impossible question. Can you actually kill a god, and should you even try? 5 weapons came out of that war, and I'm covering all of them. The Castle Bravo program, the nuclear tests of 1954 that were never tests at all, the conventional G-Day arsenal that the entire world watched fail in real time over San Francisco, the ORCA, a machine built to talk to whales that became the only object on Earth capable of giving Godzilla a direct order, the Oxygen Destroyer, the prototype that wiped out every living thing in a 2-mile radius, including, for a few horrifying moments, Godzilla himself, and Mechagodzilla, Apex Cybernetics' answer to a problem they manufactured on purpose. Every one of these escalated the Monsterverse into something more dangerous than it was before. Everyone has a body count, and the through line connecting the last two is a secret that ties a severed head rotting in the Mexican desert to the machine that nearly ended everything in Hong Kong. Stay locked in, because by the time we hit the end of this, you're going to understand why the most powerful anti-Godzilla weapon ever built was not the one that killed him. The first assassination attempt start where it started. 1954, the Pacific Ocean. Your history books will tell you the United States detonated a 15-megaton hydrogen bomb at Bikini Atoll as a weapons test. That is a lie. And Monarch helped write it. Castle Bravo was not a test. It was the first assassination attempt on Godzilla in recorded history. And the cover story that this was all about Cold War science is one of the founding falsehoods the entire organization was built on top of. Now here's the brutal part. The bomb didn't kill him, it fed him. Godzilla's entire biology runs on radiation. He metabolizes it, he heals with it, he grows on it. Dropping a hydrogen bomb on the most efficient radiation-absorbing organism the planet has ever produced is like trying to put out a grease fire by hosing it down with jet fuel. The military emptied the single most destructive device humanity had ever invented straight into the ocean, and Godzilla swam out the other side of that fireball stronger than he went in. But the real impact lands on the wider Monsterverse, because Castle Bravo set the template for everything that follows. It established the core human delusion that haunts this whole franchise. The belief that the answer to a living god is simply a bigger bomb. And it locked Monarch into 70 unbroken years of cover-ups. Every classified outpost, every redacted file, every freak natural disaster that was really a titan tearing through a coastline, all of it traces back to the institutional reflex that was born right here in 1954. When a god shows up, lie about it, and reach for a warhead. And here's the connection almost nobody makes. Monarch itself was founded in 1954. The same year, in the shadow of this exact event. Sit with that. The organization that is supposed to be humanity's shield against the Titans was born co-signing the first attempt to murder one. That single contradiction explains everything about why, decade after decade, they never tell anyone the truth. The machine that can command a god. Now the weapon that rewires the entire game, and the one casual fans criminally underrate, the ORCA. It didn't begin as a weapon at all. Mark and Emma Russell built the original prototype back at MIT as a pure scientific instrument, a bioacoustic device designed to communicate with animals through sound, a way to talk to whales. What it became is the single most dangerous object any human being has ever assembled in this universe, and I will die on that hill. First, you have to understand what the ORCA actually does, because it is not a gun. It generates a frequency, an artificial Titan call. And in the Monsterverse, every Titan answers to frequency. Dominance here was never about who hits hardest. It's about whose call the others are biologically compelled to obey. That's what an alpha is. the loudest voice in the room, which means a machine that can broadcast any call can, in theory, hand orders directly to Godzilla himself. Advance, stop, cross an ocean, stand down. And here's the deep cut a lot of channels skip right over. The ORCA's first real-world use wasn't against Godzilla, it saved his life. Before the events of King of the Monsters, Godzilla was losing, and losing badly, to an ancient elder Muto called Muto Prime. The early Sonic attempts to drive the thing off had failed outright, and the reason they failed is one of my favorite pieces of lore in the whole franchise: refraction. You can't simply blast the sound into open air, because the Titan doesn't buy it. The signal has to be tuned so that it sounds like it is coming from inside the target's own body. The moment Emma cracked that, the modified device worked, Muto Prime backed down, and Godzilla won a fight he was supposed to lose. So the ORCA's brutality is not physical. It's that it shrinks the throne of the entire planet down to something you can carry in a shipping crate. Whoever holds the ORCA controls the Titan, which is exactly why the eco-terrorists in King of the Monsters slaughter everyone in the room to steal it. A human-built weapon capable of commanding a god is the most destabilizing object in the entire Monsterverse, and they handed it straight to a man whose stated goal was to burn the surface world to the ground. And if you think the idea of weaponizing Titan biology started with the ORCA, you have to dig deeper. There's a company in Monarch lore called Applied Experimental Technologies, AET, running illegal cybernetic neurointerface experiments, trying to build a working brain-to-machine link off the back of living animal nervous systems. One of their own scientists was so disgusted she destroyed the research and went on the run for years. That company later quietly rebranded. Remember the new name? Apex Cybernetics. The road to Mechagodzilla starts with a stolen neural interface a full decade before anyone bolts the robot together. The Oxygen Destroyer. This is the one that worked. 2019. King Ghidorah, the three-headed alien the military codenamed Monster Zero, has just been woken up and is squaring off with Godzilla in the ocean off the coast of Mexico. The military, ignoring the direct, screaming warnings of Monarch's own Dr. Serizawa, decides to end the Titan problem permanently. They deploy a prototype called the Oxygen Destroyer, a single warhead engineered to chemically annihilate all life within a 2-mile radius. Not an explosion, a dead zone. The missile launches, it detonates between the two Titans, and the readouts go silent. They pull up Godzilla's vitals and they watch them fade in real time. His heart slowing, his radiation signature collapsing towards zero. The King of the Monsters is dying on the ocean floor, killed by a device that humans built and fired on purpose. For a stretch of agonizing seconds, the most powerful living thing on Earth is simply gone. And then the water shifts and Ghidorah rises, missing one head, which he casually grows back in front of everyone. Because Ghidorah is not from this planet. The Oxygen Destroyer was engineered to kill Earth life, and Ghidorah defies Earth's natural order down to his cells. So humanity's one and only successful Godzilla-killing weapon achieves the single worst outcome physically possible. It deletes the one Titan capable of stopping Ghidorah and gifts the dragon an uncontested world. Within hours, Ghidorah's alpha call goes out across the entire globe, and every dormant Titan on Earth rises at one. The greatest catastrophe in human history, the rise of the Titans, happened specifically because a weapon performed flawlessly on the wrong target. Now connect the dots, because this is the cover-up I promised you back at the start. When the Oxygen Destroyer detonated, it didn't just wound Ghidorah, it left something behind. A severed Ghidorah head lying in the Mexican desert. The eco-terrorist Jonah's people recover it, and that head, still carrying a fragment of an alien mind that is millions of years old and very much not finished, gets sold. The buyer turns it into the most expensive weapon in human history. The Oxygen Destroyer didn't just fail to fix the problem, it physically manufactured the next one. Mechagodzilla, the machine they built to win. Which brings us finally to the machine, Mechagodzilla. Built by Apex Cybernetics under CEO Walt Simmons, with Chief Technology Officer Ren Serizawa. And yes, that is the son of the same Dr. Serizawa who spent his entire life fighting for humanity to coexist with the Titan. The boy grew up to build the thing designed to exterminate them. Let that contradiction breathe for a second, because the whole tragedy of this weapon lives inside it. Mechagodzilla is the anti-Godzilla weapon every other entry on this list was secretly building toward, and it's a monument to human contradiction. Apex needed a power source strong enough to go toe-to-toe with a Titan, so they sent an expedition down into the Hollow Earth to strip a sample of the very same energy that created the Titans in the first place. They needed a brain quick enough to react like a living predator. So they used that severed Ghidorah skull from Mexico, jacking into the dead alien's lingering consciousness so that Ren Serizawa could pilot the machine telepathically. Ghidorah's heads were so far apart in life that the individual heads had to communicate by telepathy just to function. And Apex weaponized exactly that ability. Here's the brutal genius fused to the fatal arrogance in a single move. Apex didn't sit around waiting for Godzilla to strike first. They provoked him. They quietly hit their own facilities to make it look like Godzilla had turned on humanity, manufacturing the precise threat that justified building the weapon in the first place. They wanted the fight, and for a while it worked. Mechagodzilla traded blows with the king in the streets of Hong Kong and put Godzilla flat on the ground, beaten. Then they made the mistake that undoes everything. The instant they fully charged the machine with raw, unfiltered Hollow Earth energy, it stopped obeying. The fragment of Ghidorah locked inside that skull woke all the way up, severed Ren Serizawa's neural control, and seized the body for itself. And the very first thing the alien intelligence did with its brand new robotic god body was kill Walt Simmons, the man who built it. Then it turned and went straight for Godzilla, who was already half dead from the first fight. It took two kings to put it down. Godzilla, supercharged through the floor of Hong Kong itself, and Kong, swinging an axe that had just been superheated by Godzilla's own atomic breath. And the detail I love the most, the single moment that actually tipped the entire fight, was a teenage girl named Madison spilling a flask of whiskey into the machine's control panel to glitch it out for about 3 seconds. 3 seconds was all the kings needed. Kong tore Mechagodzilla's head off with his bare hands. Ghidorah's second attempt to rule the Earth ended as a smoking pile of scrap on a rooftop. Here's what should keep you up tonight. Every weapon on this list was a reaction, a panicked swing at a god that was already standing in front of us. But the energy source that powered Mechagodzilla is still down there in the Hollow Earth. The science behind the ORCA still exists. And there are now people who have personally watched Godzilla die once and come back stronger than before. Somebody, somewhere, is already asking the exact question the military has been asking since 1954. What do we build next? And the next thing they wake up trying to answer it might not stop at one head. Subscribe right now, because the next piece of Monarch's classified file we pry open is going to change how you see this entire franchise. Don't wait on it. Hit subscribe.